underneath him in Detroit? Are we getting the same version of Scott Linehan? Is he going to call the same type of plays? I don't believe so. He's a little bit different in the sense that he's going to have to make himself known by his creativity. And I said over the last couple of years, Scott Linehan is one of my favorite coordinators. Yeah. But I wanted more creativity in moments.
Amen.
Does Kellen have that, though? And then we'll get to the age.
He's going to have that. You know, because if he shows up and he's calling the exact same game plan that's been called over the last few years, then the criticism is going to come down. It's an avalanche when you're coaching for the Dallas Cowboys. So,
what kind of guy is he? Is he like a Sean McVay type? Because I'm wondering if the age he's under 30 years old.
Very opposite. Very opposite. I would go in the locker room. I try to get him riled up. I talk trash to him. I challenge him in different things. And he would be extremely laid back and as cool as ever. And I feel like it's a good thing, because if you're running hot as a player or a coach with the Cowboys, then the media is going to eat you alive.
Yeah.
But you need to be more reserved.
I'm happy that we're finally hearing from him, because this is a huge job on this plate.
This is also the biggest spot. Taylor and Adam when you are the play caller of America's team, when all of these guys are entering contract situations, you better be good. And by the way, he's the youngest offensive coordinator in the NFL since Sean McVay in 2014. And before him, I don't even have a younger coordinator than Sean McVay in 2014. So we're talking about, I thought, decorated and more spotlight position than what Cliff Kingsbury steps into in Arizona as the head coach. When you are the offensive coordinator, and you mentioned it, okay? You mentioned it, Kyle. Linehan has been his. You didn't like Linehan, and you're saying, okay, let's start anew. This is not that, because you're getting some. The only offensive coordinator he's ever known was Scott Linehan.
So there will be hints of Linehan within his play call.
Hints? How do you suddenly create, here's what I mean, that's what he knows. So if you're expecting Sean McVay, or you're expecting Kyle Shanahan, or you're expecting some out-of-the-box Chip Kelly, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike Leach type stuff, he doesn't have the experience of even being in that offense, let alone drawing that up. I'm very cautious of saying there's going to be some new inventive, crazy, high-flying offense.
The comp, I think, for Kellen Moore is another guy who was a backup quarterback in the Dallas Cowboys and wore number 17. Garrett is also the influence on him. Really, really similar career paths. So Linehan, we look at him as just steady and kind of tedious, but Jason Garrett with some great offenses he ran, it may come from him. And as far as what kind of guy we're getting, I feel like we all kind of want to know, because this is so glamorous. Like, we are the with him too. Spring of 2017, Jerry Jones of the Hall of Fame has a huge party. Everybody gets to go. That party, let me tell you, Dak and Elements having a blast party. Kellen Moore is standing in the corner. He's wearing, like, he looks like he's going to his first piano recital. He's got, like, literally a brass button blazer on, everything but, like, little paper towels for his cut himself shaving, sitting there taking what's fascinated by this. Never mind what he's going to do with the offense for a second. How are those players going to respond to him? New guy, that's a former teammate who used to hold a clipboard for years, and he's going to say whether or not Zeke gets the ball? That's fascinating.
So Scott Linehan, though, another big difference is he didn't really have a long league, right? He was cut going out of his rookie year. He had an injury. So you do have that with Kellen Moore, right? He does have the player perspective that you're talking about, sitting on that bench, being in that locker room. And he sort of mentioned that yesterday, talking about opening it up to other players, sort of being on his level and taking their ideas in the offensive decision-making process, saying, quote, unquote, from the players. I think it's important when a player believes in something and they're pretty convinced on it. Usually they find a way to make it work. I think it's a collaborative effort. You have to I mean, I don't know, was Scott Linehan, in your experience, a collaborative guy with an open door policy?
He was.
So maybe it is more of the same. I think new school, McVay. He's also 29. There's a lot of guys on that team probably, at his age. So
one of Scott's qualities was, if you had any intelligence about the game and how you viewed it, even in real time, he would listen to you. Whether you were Calvin Johnson, Matt Stafford, the list goes over his long career as an OC and even a head coach when he is with the Rams. Kellen Moore, the same thing. If he respects the fact that you have a high football IQ, he's going to listen to you. Now, guys that he's still going to have to teach the game to, then he's going to lean on his own understanding. But I will say this, even if, and this is a deep, deep dive, but if you look at any of they had a creative offense, and they let it fly, and they were a wide open system. So I do feel like he's going to bring that influence. It's not necessarily all Scott Linehan's as a player and as a college quarterback, knowing when we were in college, we were letting it fly. This was the day and age where you can call the most creative things, and a trick play wasn't a trick play because you were calling one every more that with the Dallas Cowboys. And for what it's worth, guys, Shregs, you touched on it. Kellen Moore will need to make a splash. If this offense come out and it's stale, it's boring. On the front page of the Dallas papers, what is Kellen Moore doing and why did we hire him?
Why did we hire him?
That's it. What is he doing and why did we hire him?
Jerry is all in. And even Tony Pollard, who was a rookie and is there as a fourth-round pick, he came out and was like, this is unbelievable. It's offense just in rookie minicamp. So the rave reviews are in. But I've been fooled by rave reviews about I've been fooled about rave reviews about movies before they come out. Like, I want to see it before I know, because I don't know what the Kellen Moore experience is. He was a quarterback coach last year, being a coach anywhere.
With what you know, quickly, do you think this offense will be better than what we saw in 2018 with Kellen Moore as the OC?
Not necessarily. The tricky thing is that last year when Amari came over, the offense was really good. Like they lost one game and then went on this winning streak. So if he took over this tedious milquetoast offense, it would be a lot easier. I just think the fact that even Kellen Moore's quotes are not on camera, like, is very not Dallas Cowboys. Everyone's on camera there. And Sean McVay came and he was a whiz kid. Cliff Kingsbury is an internet celebrity and everything. This is the nerdy backup quarterback who's now telling me what to do. He better come out week one and have a hell of a game plan.
More on the Cowboys in just a bit, but we have to talk about Josh Rosen. He's now with Miami, and he gives a bombshell interview, guys. He reveals who called him and who didn't. And your first look at Baker Mayfield throwing passes to OBJ, guys. I cannot wait.